Hello, my name is Mike Shields. I'm the political director at the National Republican Congressional Committee. I want to walk you through a quick slideshow to show Republicans how they can push back on false Democratic attacks on Medicare cuts and the Ryan plan, specifically by pushing back on Democrats and attacking them on Obamacare. We were able to see how this worked successfully in a test in a Nevada special election. It was the seat to replace Dean Heller. The Republican candidate was State Senator Mark Amodei, and the Democratic candidate was State Treasurer Kate Marshall. The key thing that we were able to do was get Kate Marshall to admit that she would not repeal Obamacare, and Mark Amodei had in the Republican primary said that he was for the Ryan plan. And so we knew that this was going to be set up as a fight over these entitlement plans. And so if you look at some assumptions that we had at the start of this race, we knew that Amodei would be attacked on Medicare. We knew that they would use the Ryan plan against Mark. He had been in the Republican primary. He'd been asked about the Ryan plan, as many of our candidates have been. Most of our members have voted for it. And he said he thought it was an excellent plan. So we knew that they were going to be attacking him on the Ryan plan and specifically on Medicare. We knew that voters are inclined to believe Republicans don't like Medicare and that we're not going to support it. So we always start off at a deficit on the issue of Medicare against Democrats. And so part of the other training thing that we have to do is to get Republicans to understand that they still need to talk about Medicare. It's not in the zone that they normally want to talk about, but that we need to feel positive about how we go about talking about preserving Medicare. We knew that Medicare attacks, if we didn't respond to them, would hurt. We can't just walk away from this. We can't just play defense or even ignore the issue. We've got to do something about it. And we also knew that Republicans have a strong message that's capable of fighting Medicare to a tie. So where did we start? In a survey at the beginning of the campaign, and in this survey, we were slightly up on the ballot test, but it was very early on, and neither of the candidates had been really defined in the race. Respondents were asked, which candidate will do better to protect seniors on Medicare? And as you can see, Kate Marshall, the Democrat, gets 39%. Mark Amodei, the Republican, gets 26%. That's just built in, purely having an R or a D after your name. People are going to believe that the Democrat is going to protect Medicare more. If you ask that question amongst 56 to 65, you can see that it jumps to 46% of seniors believe that the Democrat is going to be better versus 18% with Republicans. And on that very same survey, you can see Amodei was actually viewed favorably amongst the seniors. They didn't dislike him. They just said, we like him, but on Medicare, well, no, he's a Republican. He's not going to protect Medicare. And so then the fight begins. As we get into the campaign, we knew that the Democrats were going to run an ad against us, and this is the ad that they ran against us.
I'm Kate Marshall, and I approve this message.
Mark Amodei sponsored the biggest tax hike in Nevada history. Now, Amodei supports the Ryan plan that ends Medicare as we know it.
All right. I like a lot of what he has to say in terms of Medicare. I think that's excellent.
Amodei thinks it's excellent to give seniors a voucher, double their out-of-pocket costs, and give tax breaks to millionaires. Raise our taxes and cut our Medicare? Amodei says,
judge me by what I do.
Okay, Mark, we will.
So you can see that they hit Mark Amodei on the Ryan plan, as we said. They said he was going to end Medicare. This is what is the mantra of the Democrats. They're going to do this to all of our candidates. They're going to do it to Mitt Romney. They're going to do it to everybody. If you've said anything good about the Ryan plan, then therefore you are against Medicare. You're going to end Medicare, and you're going to hurt seniors. So we responded. We didn't want to let that go. We responded with this ad, which we call the Amodei Mom ad.
Why is Democrat Kate Marshall lying about Mark Amodei's record on Medicare? Because Kate Marshall wants to cover up her support for a $500 billion Medicare cut. And Marshall supports the Obama plan to put bureaucrats in charge of your medical decisions.
I'm Mark Amodei, and I approve this message because while Kate Marshall and her friends have already supported cuts to Medicare, you should know that I will work to support and improve the program.
You'd better, Mark. I'm counting on you.
Okay, Ma, I'll do my best.
Good.
And as you can see, what we did was we used Obamacare. We responded by saying that Kate Marshall is lying, and the reason she's lying about Mark Amodei's position on Medicare, he doesn't want to end Medicare, but the reason she's lying is she's covering up the fact that she supports Obamacare, and that Obamacare will cut $500 billion from seniors, from Medicare, and will put in place IPAB. The independent expenditure unit of the NRCC at the very same time went up with this ad.
My name's Kate Marshall. I'm your state treasurer. I'm in charge of your money. You have less money today than you had yesterday.
In Congress, Democrat Kate Marshall would continue to take more of your money. She supports keeping Obama's health care takeover. That could force businesses to drop health insurance for workers, give bureaucrats the ability to limit seniors' access to care, even cut Medicare by $500 billion.
Are we clear? Are we clear?
Crystal clear. The National Republican Congressional Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
And you can see from this ad, of course, Kate Marshall has a shrill voice that doesn't help her cause, and they're using video of her. But the real issue, the heart of the ad, is, again, talking very specifically about Obamacare and some specific issues that seniors we know are going to respond to and is going to move numbers amongst seniors. So we're fighting back by attacking on Obamacare. After the mom ad was up and the independent expenditure ad was up, the Democrats put up yet another attack ad. They weren't going to walk away from what they believe is a very good issue for them. They were engaging. So we were fully in a back and forth fight on entitlements, on Medicare, and on Obamacare, and they put up this second attack ad.
Mark Amadei thinks a plan that would end Medicare is, quote, excellent. What do you think?
Mark, do you want to end Medicare?
To give tax cuts to rich people.
Making us pay double for it.
Can you imagine?
It would be devastating.
Mark, I need Medicare.
I worked 45 years.
50 years.
55 years.
I paid for it.
I earned it.
You can't end Medicare.
I'm Kate Marshall, and I approve this message because we have to protect Medicare.
Amadei? No way.
I just can't believe this is what you want to do.
And from our perspective, we didn't want to keep litigating this. We didn't want the entire campaign to be about this. Our entire mission was to try to play this to a draw. Looking at those numbers early on, we thought if we can be attacked on Medicare and get through this fight and somewhere be within the ballpark, even if we're only down by 1 or 2 points on a survey or tied. And that's another thing we had to get across to Republicans. You're not trying to necessarily win the issue of Medicare, which many of them wouldn't think we could do. We're just trying to play it to a tie. And so we put up this second mom ad, which was, it started off strong, and then we rotated it only to senior viewers, and then we moved on to the economy, to taxes and spending, and stronger ground for us. We were moving away from this issue because we felt like we'd responded.
Mark Amadei thinks a plan that would end Medicare is, quote, excellent.
That's not true.
Well said, Mrs. Amadei. Kate Marshall is still lying about your son. Mark Amadei will protect Medicare benefits for seniors now and in the future. Kate Marshall supports $500 billion in cuts to today's Medicare recipients. I'm Mark Amadei, and I approve this message.
Me too.
Thanks, Mom.
In addition to the TV war that you saw going on there, seniors received 3 pieces of mail from Republicans before and during the Medicare skirmish because we wanted to amplify our message. We were sending that in the mail. We know that seniors read a lot of mail, and we wanted to give them that was where we put a lot of the hardcore facts about both Obamacare and the Ryan plan so that they could read and see the differences. We were inoculating and playing offense. Amadei's message was pretty clear in earned media and across the board. I have principles for saving and protecting Medicare, and I'm the one candidate in this race working to protect Medicare because my opponent actually wants to cut Medicare. That was contrasted with her support for Obamacare and the Medicare cuts. So where we ended, you can look here on Mark Amadei's image amongst seniors. His favorable and unfavorable numbers amongst people 65 and older actually grew. He started off in a decent position. They liked him. We get into this huge battle, and when we come out of the other side of it, he's actually grown his fave-unfave amongst seniors. On the issue of Medicare, which candidate will better protect seniors on Medicare? And remember, we started down on this 39 to 26, which was just from the R versus the D, just people assigning a party position to the issue of Medicare. By the time we're done with this race, and again, we were only trying to play it to a draw, you can see that we actually held an 8-point lead in this electorate amongst who will protect Medicare. People saw the pushback on Obamacare and were so upset by it that they actually believed that we would be stronger in protecting Medicare than the Democrat. That was a net movement from -13 to +8. And then if you look amongst seniors, the most important position, we started off down 46 to 18, and we wound up 43 to 36, a net movement of -28 to +7, far exceeding any of the expectations or even goals that we had for fighting back in the campaign this way. So the lessons that we learned, we proved our hypothesis in this test bed. You need to inoculate by pledging to save and protect Medicare, and if possible, use a credible third-party validator. In this case, we put Mark Amadei's mom in the ad, getting other seniors to come out and explain your motive. There's no way that you actually want to cut Medicare. These are the typical political lies that you see from the Democrats. Second, collect hard evidence that your Democrat opposes repealing Obamacare. If it's a challenger candidate, you need to get them on the record saying, no, I wouldn't have a full repeal of Obamacare. If it's a Democrat member and they voted for it, you need to get them somehow on the record saying that they're going to support Obamacare so that you can assign all of the bad parts of Obamacare to them. Thirdly, you need to create a clear choice with your Democrat for backing Obamacare and the $500 billion Medicare cuts in earned media and elsewhere. You can't sort of lightly go into this. You have to fully engage and lean into this fight and set up the big contrast. Fourthly, just keep in mind that one of the lessons we learned, Republicans can win the Medicare fight, and we've proven it. And then finally, once Medicare is litigated and the race refocuses on economic issues, we've now chased them off the field of an issue that they want to talk about, and we're back onto something that we know that we can win on.